Here's what nobody tells you about intimate relationships. The way you approach physical connection determines whether your partner feels truly satisfied or just going through the motions. Most people assume that intensity equals satisfaction. You've probably absorbed this idea from media portrayals and figured that's what works. But the truth is, your approach to physical intimacy dramatically affects whether your partner is engaged or disconnected. Miss this, and you risk disappointment. Get it right, and your partner will eagerly anticipate your next encounter. That's precisely what I'm breaking down for you right now. I'm Dr. Zara, and I specialize in relationship health. Here's our roadmap. First, why gradual progression isn't just considerate, but physiologically essential for mutual enjoyment. Next, the specific approaches that maximize connection for both partners, including the aspect nearly everyone overlooks completely. Finally, how paying attention to your partner's responses elevates you from average to exceptional in intimate moments. Most people repeat identical mistakes for years, simply because nobody explained how bodies genuinely respond during physical connection. Let's tackle the most damaging mistake people make, beginning with excessive intensity before readiness exists. If you're typical, you've witnessed portrayals where physical connection begins and instantly transitions to maximum intensity. You probably figured this is what partners want because that's the universal depiction. But here's the biological reality that makes this approach problematic. Bodies require considerably longer preparation time for arousal than many realize. Throughout arousal, the body genuinely adapts to accommodate comfortable physical connection. But this doesn't occur instantaneously. It demands time and proper progression. Blood circulation increases, natural responses build up, and muscles gradually relax. This represents a gradual biological process, not an immediate switch. So when you begin with high intensity immediately before your partner's body has had time to fully respond, it's likely to be uncomfortable or even unpleasant. Your partner might not communicate this directly because they don't want to hurt your feelings or damage your confidence, or they're uncomfortable speaking up, or they genuinely think this is normal because previous partners behaved identically. But regardless of whether they say anything, you should understand that biologically their body isn't ready for that intensity yet. Beginning gradually allows their body proper time to relax and adapt. When you eventually progress toward deeper connection, the experience becomes incredibly positive rather than uncomfortable. This isn't about timidity or uncertainty. It concerns understanding arousal mechanics and modifying your approach appropriately. Gradual doesn't equal boring. It means intentional. The second game-changing technique involves strategic variation. This applies specifically to your approach patterns, not merely preliminary activities. Strategic variation means deliberately alternating intensity levels to heighten pleasure through anticipation and desire. Here's the psychological mechanism behind why this works well. When your partner experiences intense pleasure during intimacy, their nervous system adjusts to that level of stimulation. Those feelings build as they go deeper into the experience. But when you temporarily reduce that intensity, when you press pause, you're creating contrast that makes them want it even more. You're activating their desire and making them crave what you just reduced. This sense of craving will double or triple the intensity of their pleasure when you resume. Here's practical application. When you establish an approach that your partner is clearly responding to positively, let them experience that briefly. Then strategically pull back. Slow everything down dramatically. Return to gentler interaction instead of intense contact. Observe their reaction carefully. They'll likely show signs of wanting more, probably attempting to increase intensity themselves. That's your confirmation you've positioned them exactly where maximum impact occurs. Once you rebuild your pace and intensity, you'll witness the powerful effect this contrast produces. The pleasure registers completely differently after being temporarily reduced. One essential caution though, avoid employing this variation technique precisely when your partner is approaching climax. If you reduce intensity immediately before they're about to finish, they'll experience genuine frustration. This technique works optimally during earlier and middle phases when building arousal, not at the peak moment. The third mastery element involves shifting your rhythm throughout the encounter. Maintaining identical tempo for extended periods becomes monotonous and actually reduces pleasure. Our nerve pathways adapt to consistent stimulation patterns and become less responsive over time. That's why mixing rhythm proves crucial. Your tempo should shift based on several different factors happening in the moment. Your current approach and arrangement, how close either of you is to reaching peak satisfaction, and where you both are in arousal, and how far into the overall experience you've progressed together. Early in the experience, when connecting emotionally and bonding, you can go slower and really savor the intimacy you're creating. Further along in the encounter, you can increase intensity. Don't overthink this aspect. The objective isn't following some rigid prescription. It's creating organic variation, so their nervous system stays responsive and engaged, rather than adapting to one unchanging rhythm. Provided your varying tempo according to the moment and what feels appropriate, both participants will enjoy the encounter significantly more. Now, before reaching the fourth technique, let me mention something that'll prevent you from making common errors. I've assembled a free resource on frequent mistakes people make during intimate moments. This addresses errors that seem minor but completely impact the experience. Many people believe they understand proper technique, but they're actually doing things that create discomfort without awareness. You'll locate the link in the description. It's completely free and will help you avoid approaches that don't work well. Now, the technique most people completely ignore. Many focus exclusively on one type of interaction. Yes, that stimulates certain responses, but it completely bypasses other important aspects of physical connection. When you incorporate full body contact, holding your partner close while maintaining connection, you create more comprehensive stimulation. This is where understanding anatomy becomes critically important. Physical pleasure comes from multiple sources, not just one area. In straightforward terms, incorporating varied approaches rather than just one method stimulates multiple pleasure centers simultaneously. For most people, this comprehensive stimulation proves essential for peak satisfaction. Therefore, by incorporating variety, you're dramatically increasing the probability your partner will reach complete satisfaction. How precisely do you do this? It's straightforward. You maintain close contact and create connection through multiple touch points. This isn't aggressive or rough. It's controlled, deliberate contact. Certain approaches make this easier to execute. Others require experimentation and adjustment. Either way, I strongly recommend using this technique. Not only does it massively increase pleasure for your partner, but it's also a strategic method for you to pace yourself. Varied approaches allow you to maintain engagement while managing your own arousal levels. It's mutually beneficial. The fifth and final principle is attentiveness. Whatever approach you're using during intimacy, you must be present and conscious of how your partner is responding. Watch their physical reactions. Listen to their breathing patterns. Notice what makes them move toward you versus pull back slightly. Pay attention to vocalizations, muscle tension, everything. This awareness is exactly what allows you to create the best possible experience together, not just once, but consistently over time as you learn and grow together. Too many people get trapped in their own heads during intimate moments, worrying constantly about performance, second-guessing themselves relentlessly, thinking about whether they're doing it right or wrong. And because they're mentally checked out and not present, they never actually learn what works best for them personally and for their specific partner. Being present and attentive makes you a better partner than most by default. It's not complicated. You're simply paying attention to what's happening in real time and adjusting based on their responses. That responsiveness, that presence, is what separates mediocre experiences from the kind your partner will treasure. One more thing before I wrap up. People are significantly more likely to enjoy intimacy and reach satisfaction when they feel emotionally connected to their partner. Physical connection isn't purely physical, it's emotional as well. Even in casual situations, the stronger the emotional bond you create, the better the experience will be, and the more they'll want to continue the relationship. Building that connection doesn't require grand gestures. It comes from how you communicate, how present you are, how you make your partner feel valued. If this video gave you clarity on what you've been missing, go ahead and hit that like button so you don't miss future content. Leave a comment below. Which of these 5 techniques surprised you most, or which one are you going to implement first? I read every comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.